Hello. One who has discomfort being in the Sukkah is exempt from the Sukkah and he can leave the Sukkah. But one is not allowed to build a Sukkah knowing that this Sukkah is such that he'll have discomfort. But once you build a good Sukkah and something happened then, for instance, a lot of flies went in, a lot of mosquitoes went in, a lot of bees came in a way that you can't just remove them and it just becomes uncomfortable in there, one could leave the Sukkah. Also, if rain starts coming in, one is exempt from staying in the Sukkah. This is learned from the concept of Basukot Teshvu, sit, Chachamim taught us, Teshvu ken taduru. You should be in there just like in your house. If in your house, in one room, you would see a lot of mosquitoes and you wouldn't be able to just fly them out, then you would move to a different room. If in one room it would be very cold, the heat doesn't work, you would leave and go to a different room with heat. But you can't leave the Sukkah if that discomfort is still wherever you go. You'll move into the house and still have the same discomfort, then you're not patur from staying in the Sukkah. One that has such a discomfort that it's only him, but everybody else feels comfortable. He feels cold right now. He's not sick. If he's sick, of course, choleh patur min ha-sukkah, but he feels cold. He feels hot. He feels uncomfortable for any other reason. It's too noisy. He doesn't like the noise outside. He hears the crickets. He doesn't like it. He's not exempt from the Sukkah. It has to be something that other people as well feel this way towards that nuisance. In other words, if he's the only one that feels that way, majority of people don't feel that way, he has to stay. Unless he is a istanis. Istanis means somebody who's finicky. Somebody that can't handle such things. And then, if other finicky people would feel that way as well, they couldn't handle the situation, he's allowed to leave. Let's see how the Shulchan Aruch says it in Siman Tafresh Mem, Seif Daled. Hamitztaer patur min ha-sukkah. One who has discomfort, his patur is exempt from the mitzvah of Sukkah. Ezu mitztaer, what's example of mitztaer? זה שאינו יכול לישון בסוכה מפני הרוח. Let's say there's wind, and you can't avoid the wind. Let's say it's cold, you can't avoid the cold. You can't bring a small heater because it's just extremely cold. או מפני הזבובים, there's a lot of flies, פרושים, וכיוצא בהם. או מפני הריח, there's a bad smell that suddenly came. You're not allowed to build a sukkah in a place that you know it's right near the garbage and there'll be smell over there. But rather you build a sukkah and all of a sudden the neighbors put a lot of garbage around or some other bad smell came around, then you'll be exempt. דווקא שבא לו הצער במקרה, אחר שיצא שם הסוכה, says the Shulchan Aruch. Only if it happened afterwards. After you build the sukkah, but you didn't know about this beforehand. אבל אין לו לעשות לכתחילה סוכתו במקום הריח או הרוח, ולומר מצטער אני. One is not allowed to build initially such a sukkah that he'll know that it will have that discomfort. Now, one of the discomforts that is common, rain. The rain comes in, one is exempt from being in the sukkah. Just like in your house, if the roof starts leaking from rain, you don't have to sit here. You would remove yourself and sit somewhere else. Same thing in the sukkah. If the rain comes down on your head or on your food, you move. If let's say it's on the side and you're still in a place that is dry and it's no rain, then you must stay. In a case that it's raining, what's the amount of rain that you'll have to move out of the sukkah? And by the way, you'll have to move out of the sukkah because Chachamim taught us in the Gemara that ירדו גשמים צריך להיפנות. היה אוכל בסוכה וירדו גשמים וירד. The rain starts coming down. אין מדריכים אותו לעלות עד שיגמור סעודתו. היה ישן תחת הסוכה וירדו גשמים וירד. אין מדריכים אותו לעלות עד שיהיה אור. But in a case that it starts raining, it says, ירדו גשמים ממתי מותר לפנות משתסרח המקפה. משלו משל, parable to what? למה הדבר דומה? לעבד שבא למזוג כוס לרבו. It's just like a slave that comes to serve his master and gives him a drink in a cup. ושפך לו קיטון על פניו. The master doesn't want his service, so therefore he spills the drink on his face. Therefore, one is not allowed to stay if you see that the master doesn't want you to serve him. He's not allowed to force his service on the master. Same thing here. If a Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want our service, he reigns on us. We have to leave. We have to remove ourselves. It's not like other mitzvot or other tsar. Let's say a person is in the sukkah and is mitztaer. He's allowed to stay. He's allowed to be machmir. But in this reign, it's an indication that a Kadosh Baruch Hu is not interested in our mitzvah right now. So we have to leave. How much rain does have to fall down in order for us to get out of the sukkah? It says in the Gemara, as we learned before, מ-200 מותר לפנות, משתסרח המקפה, which means the food gets spoiled because of the rain. What kind of food? It has to be food that it's not liquidy, it's not hard, it's not congealed, it's somewhere in the middle, like hot cereal when they make it a little bit thick. Such thing that gets spoiled from the rain, you have to get out of the sukkah. What kind of food? Even something very delicate, tafshil shel ful, that Mishnah Berurah says that it easily gets spoiled, and therefore you'll have to move out of the sukkah. If you aren't sure what is the amount, says the Rama that you measure what would be the amount of rain that will fall in your house. Let's say you had a leak. You get out at the table and you go to a different spot in the house in order to avoid the rain. If you see that rain is going to come soon, you see the forecast is rain is coming down in half hour or in 5 minutes, and you want to start eating, so then, although there's a ritva that says that you shouldn't eat in the sukkah, you have to move out into the house right away. You don't have to stay if you know that's a forecast. But la halacha is that you could stay in the sukkah. Some wanted to say maybe you shouldn't say bracha because of that ritva, it's afek brachot. We do say bracha, that's how the majority of the poskim say that one should conduct himself. Now, there is a halacha on the first night. On the first night, Sfaradim don't have any, it's not different than any other night, and therefore the Shulchan Aruch, where is posek in Tafresh Lamed Tet Seif Hey, Yardu Kshamim, הרי זה נכנס לתוך הבית, it's even the first night. Whenever there's rain, you can come out of the sukkah and go into the house. But the Rama for the Ashkenazim says, כל זה בשאר לימים או לילות של סוכות, אבל לילה ראשונה צריך לאכול כזית בסוכה אף גשמים יורדים. The Rama says, one should stay and eat in the sukkah, even if the rain falls down on you. You must stay in the sukkah and eat at least a kazait. Why? You learn that from Pesach. There's a gzera shava, 15, just like in Pesach you have to eat regardless whether you mitzvah or not. Over here, it's a special din on the first night that you have to eat kazait, an amount of 1 ounce of bread in the sukkah, and be yotzeh with that, even if the rain falls on you. Afterwards, you can go back into the house. Now, if it is raining, the Mishnah Berurah brings poskim that say you should wait until midnight in order to be able to eat without rain. Once it's raining, even though you're eating that kazait, you shouldn't say a bracha l'shav b'sukkah, because there are poskim that say that you shouldn't be in the sukkah while it's raining. So therefore, to do the mitzvah correctly, wait. What's the amount and length that one is supposed to wait? Up to midnight. But the Mishnah Berurah brings that the poskim don't say like that, and they're not obligating you to wait so long. Why? Because as family members, it's very hard for the family members to wait that long, and therefore you wait an hour or two in order to see if the rain stops. If the rain stops after an hour or two, and the people are still, they could wait to that length, they have the patience, and they're not that hungry, so you wait until that time. But otherwise, if people can't wait, you wait a certain amount that you could, and you see that people would be able to wait, and then you start. Again, this is not for Sfaradim. Sfaradim, as soon as they see rain, they could go inside. That's called mitztaer, and mitztaer is patur from the mitzvah of Sukkot.